Inquisitor, meet Hawke, the champion of Kirkwall.
Varric said that you fought Corypheus before.
Fought and killed. The Grey Wardens were holding him, and he somehow used his connection to the Darkspawn to influence them. If the Wardens have disappeared, they could have fallen under his control again. I've got a friend in the Wardens. He was investigating something unrelated for me. His name is Stroud. The last time we spoke, he was worried about corruption in the Warden ranks. He told me he'd be hiding in an old smuggler's cave near Crestwood.
What are you doing in Crestwood?
A warden named Stroud is wanted for questioning. We heard he'd passed through here, but the villagers knew nothing. Warden Commander Clarel ordered his capture. I can say no more than that.
A letter of confession from the mayor. It says he was the one who flooded old Crestwood 10 years ago, to stop the blight from spreading.
That sorry bastard. He left before he could get caught.
Well met, your worship. Did Sister Nightingale tell you why she wanted agents here?
We lie on the main road between Denerim and Valroyaux. Couriers stop here all the time. For what they're paid, some have surprisingly loose tongues.
What's happening in Crestwood?
The dragon circling the lake looks hungrier than usual. Travelers on the road will be scarce until it's gone.
I should be going.
Another time.
One thing about the Ferelden people. They're resilient. You'd almost have to be living here.
I cannot place your fighting style, and I have studied the martial arts for years.
It's from everywhere. I traveled a lot in my youth.
I'm surprised, Seeker. I thought you'd take charge back in Redcliffe, maybe grab Fiona and rough her up.
I do not rough people up.
Sorry, my mistake. You'd have your men do it for you.
You will never let that go, will you?
Probably not.
The Warden and Hawke should be inside that cave.
Glad you made it. I just got here myself. My contact with the Wardens should be at the back of the cave.
A group of wardens were protecting a villager from corpses out near Crestwood.
They were likely hunting my friend. I'm glad they didn't come looking for people to help in here. They might well be good men, but they've been given bad orders. It's just us. I brought the Inquisitor.
My name is Stroud, and I'm at your service, Inquisitor.
I'll take all the help I can get. I know the wardens have troubles of their own. I wonder, though, might those troubles have anything to do with Corypheus?
I fear it is so. When my friend Hawke slew Corypheus, Weishaupt was happy to put the matter to rest. But an archdemon can survive wounds that seem fatal, and I feared Corypheus might possess the same power. My investigation uncovered clues, but no proof. Then, not long after, every warden in Orlais began to hear the calling.
I recall that being a bad thing, but I don't recall you telling me about all this.
It was a Grey Warden matter. I was bound by an oath of secrecy.
Is the calling some sort of Grey Warden ritual?
The calling tells a warden that the Blight will soon claim him. Starts with dreams. Then come whispers in his head. The warden says his farewells, and goes to the deep roads to meet his death in combat.
And every Grey Warden in Orlais is hearing that right now. They think they're dying.
Yes. Likely because of Corypheus. If the Wardens fall, who will stand against the next Blight? It is our greatest fear.
And then they do something desperate. Which is of course what Corypheus wants.
You said all the Wardens are hearing the calling. Does that include you? And also you, Blackwall?
Sadly, yes. It lurks like a wolf in the shadows around a campfire. The creature that makes this music has never known the love of the Maker, but at times, I almost understand it. We must uncover what Corypheus has done and end it. This cannot stand.
I do not fear the calling. And worrying about it only gives it power. Anything Corypheus does will only strengthen my resolve.
Is the calling they're hearing real, or is Corypheus mimicking it somehow?
I know not. Even as a senior Warden, I had heard only the vaguest whispers of Corypheus. The Wardens believe that this calling is real, and they will act accordingly. That is all we know for certain.
How can Corypheus make all these Wardens hear the calling?
I cannot say. We know little about him, save that he is dangerous. He is a Magister, as well as a Darkspawn, and speaks with the voice of the Blight. That lets him affect the minds of Wardens, since we are tied to the Blight ourselves. It must be how he created this false calling.
So the Wardens are making some last, desperate attack on the Darkspawn.
We are the only ones who can slay archdemons. Without us, the next Blight will consume the world. Warden Commander Clarel spoke of a blood magic ritual to prevent future Blights before we all perished. When I protested the plan as madness, my own comrades turned on me. Grey Wardens are gathering here, in the western approach. It is an ancient Tevinter ritual tower. Meet me there, and we will find answers.
Something in particular you require?
I see I'm intruding. I'll be on my way.
No, wait. We saw so many Red Templars at the assault on Haven. Perhaps all that was left of the Order. What we didn't see was Lord Seeker Lucius. Indeed, I've seen no hint of any Seekers amongst the Red Templars, or anywhere. I have a growing suspicion Corypheus has imprisoned them.
Why imprisoned? He could just as easily have killed them.
Not easily. But yes, they may be dead. But the Seekers began this war against the mages. They cannot have simply vanished. There must be a trail we can follow, yet so far I have only discovered hints.
But they could have ended up just like the Red Templars.
Seekers do not use lyrium. I assume Corypheus gained control of the Templars by corrupting the lyrium they were already taking. To do the same to a Seeker, you'd have to force the lyrium upon him. That may be what happened, but it couldn't have begun that way. We're missing a piece of the puzzle, Inquisitor. I need to find it.
Finding them obviously means a lot to you.
I don't expect you to understand. I cannot even claim that rescuing them would be beneficial. They wouldn't look kindly on the Inquisition. But even so, if there's a chance... If we can spare resources to follow up on these leads, Inquisitor, I would appreciate it.
I've made some inquiries into the Imperial Court. The sooner we deal with the threats to the Empress, the better. The political situation in the Empire is dangerously unstable. It will complicate matters.
Everything in the Empire complicates matters. It's the Orlesian national pastime.
Turn your nose up at the grand game if you like, Commander, but we play for the highest stakes, and to the death. The Court's disapproval can be as great a threat as the Venatori. We must be vigilant to avert disaster.
Exactly what do you mean? How is it more dangerous than usual?
The Empress is in the middle of a civil war. Her cousin, Grand Duke Gaspard, seeks to take her throne by force. Leliana reports that a group of elves has been sabotaging both armies, drawing out the hostilities. Orlais holds Tevinter at bay. All of Tedas could be lost if the Empire falls to Corypheus. Celine is holding peace talks under the auspices of a grand masquerade. Every power in Orlais will be there. It's the perfect place for an assassin to hide.
Does Celine know about the threats against her? Can we send word?
I've sent messages to the Empress, but it's impossible to know if she's received them. We don't have enough sway with the court to arrange an invitation. Perhaps a few more alliances.
Or soldiers.
We need a greater presence in Orlais. And soon.
They tell me you sent Alexius back into the prisons. Seems a waste to rot away in a cell like that. He was a good man once. Maybe it will give him time to think. But with Felix gone, I doubt it.
It occurs to me that I barely know anything about you.
Beyond my being a mage from Tevinter, you mean?
Beyond that, yes.
And beyond my being so charming and well-dressed, which is obvious to anyone.
You certainly think highly of yourself.
It's true. I could be more modest, but I'd be lying.
Now, what was I talking about? Ah, yes, me. I am the scion of House Parvis, a product of generations of careful breeding and the repository of its hopes and dreams. Naturally, I despised it all. The lies, the scheming, the illusions of supremacy. That's Tevinter in a nutshell, isn't it? Needless to say, my family was not happy with my choices.
Why would your family be upset with your choices?
Because I rejected their idyllic plan. If they had their way, by now I'd be married to some unlucky girl from a powerful family. We'd live in luxurious despair, despising each other as I waited to take my father's place in the magisterium. I declined the honor, and thus it's best I'm far from home. Less of an embarrassment that way, you see?
What did you mean by generations of careful breeding?
The great families of Tevinter don't have children. They refine traits, weed out the undesirable, and promote the rest. My mother was chosen for my father because magic runs strongly in her blood. Never mind that they loathed each other. They wanted a son who could become Archon to make House Parvis the envy of the Imperium. They got me. A cautionary tale that you should be careful what you wish for.
I'm getting the impression that you don't care much for your homeland.
On the contrary, I care for my homeland a great deal. There's so much potential. Sadly, we squander it. We refuse to acknowledge how far we've fallen because pretending is easier. We pretend the Qunari can be beaten. We pretend that we're superior to everyone, even our own people. Not everyone feels that way. I don't. Sadly, we're the minority.
So much of what you say about the Imperium is entirely negative.
It might sound that way. For all our faults, my people have many virtues. We are laden with history and culture. Tevinter is where Thedas truly began, remember? We treasure our past and preserve it. You can walk down a side street and find nothing built during the modern ages. And despite appearances, we care. Deeply. About everything. We have no reserve, not in war and not in love. If I truly believed my homeland was beyond all hope, I wouldn't miss it so much.
Why remain with the Inquisition? Why not go back to Tevinter?
I'm not exactly welcome back home. Not that it matters, I'm quite accustomed to being a pariah. It adds to my charm. I can do more for Tevinter here. If the Venatori succeed, it'll set my homeland back 1,000 years. I'm sure some Magisters would disagree, but that's why we kill them.
I think I've heard enough.
That's too bad. I never tire of talking about myself.
Hey you, I have an Inquisitor favor to ask. Just a little thing, really. A little march around for some of your people. It's nothing for you, right?
All right, let's hear what you've got.
Jump right in, huh? I like that. It's a Red Jenny thing. I got a tip that some noble stiffs are arguing over Verschel. Land squabble. They're getting little people beat up, so I need you to go to your big table and send some people to walk through town.
Just walk through?
Just walk through. Easy, right?
Was this a tip from one of your friends?
Not a Jenny. Just normal angry people getting sick of being in the middle. I don't usually hear about things this far away. But having a friend like you is like getting really big ears. Bigger than normal, I guess, because we both... Never mind.
Who's asking for this?
I'm asking, because I heard people complaining. See, when nobles fight, it's not them. It's their little people stuck in the middle. It's like a polite war, so no one pays attention. But if you march through, the people up top feel threatened too. Stuff like this is always happening. Good sovereigns to be made if you're one of the few who notice.
All right, Sarah. I'll have someone look into it.
It's fun, right? Being important without doing a thing. Well, not much of a thing. Not everything has to be torn skies and ancient arseholes. Every little thing makes a difference somewhere.
I understand the Inquisition has tracked down the missing Seekers. Care Oswin. I didn't see Ban Loren as the sort of nobleman that would become involved in this war. The sooner we go there, the sooner I can put this search behind me.
Can you tell me more about the Seekers?
The Seekers of Truth were born from the original Inquisition long ago, when it united with the Chantry. Seekers stood above the Templars, watching over them but also investigating magical events they couldn't handle. We were meant to be incorruptible, above reproach. How seldom does reality match the ideal?
But what are Seekers exactly?
Those who know anything of us think we are Templars. We do not use lyrium, however. Our abilities are different, as was our original purpose. We disciplined the Templars and were accountable only to the Divine. And not even her, truthfully.
So the Seekers commanded the Templars?
No. The Order didn't assume command until after the rebellion. The Templars have always feared us. When a Seeker arrived at a circle, they knew trouble was afoot. That kind of power is troubling. You begin to think you are the only one who can solve the world's problems. If you don't see a problem, it doesn't exist. If someone insists it does, they are the blind ones.
Do you think that kind of problem could ever be fixed?
Possibly. Though the Seekers themselves would need to change. They were clearly not willing to, even though they abandoned everything they stood for to avoid it. In my heart, I believe they can still be salvaged, but not by their own hands.
You mentioned that Seekers have different abilities than Templars.
Entirely. A Templar's abilities come from lyrium and are designed to hunt mages. Ours come from ritual and many years of dedicated training. We cannot be possessed by demons and are immune to mind control. Useful, considering our role. Seekers can gain other gifts, though that depends on the individual.
What kind of gifts do you have?
I can set the lyrium within a person's blood aflame. Both mages and Templars bend before my will. Some Seekers use it to interrogate, others simply to paralyze. Once there was a Seeker who could use it to kill. That particular gift is considered rare.
How does someone become a Seeker?
Most Seekers begin training in their youth. I was much older, an exception due to my noble birth. We train rigorously for years. Our bodies and minds must be elastic to undergo the vigil, and most fail even then.
Is the vigil some kind of initiation?
It is the rite every Seeker must go through in order to summon their gifts. A full year of fasting, prayer, and separation from all distractions, including other people. We empty ourselves of all emotion, focusing only on the purity of our devotion. And the moment it finally ends, it's wonderful. Faith realized. I cannot put it into words.
Was it some kind of magic?
I don't fully understand it, to be honest. If the vigil was not so arduous, I'd say more should attempt it. What if mages never needed to fear possession by demons? I'm told it is impossible, however. I suppose I'll never know the truth of it now.
Why did your order turn against the Chantry?
We originally united with the Chantry through a treaty that stated they would keep mages under control. It was felt Most Holy had tacitly allowed the Circle of Magi to vote on its independence, thus breaking the treaty. The Seekers saw themselves as justified, and they led the Templars into a war of righteousness.
You sound like you disagree.
We knew what was happening at Kirkwall, where the Mage Rebellion began. We looked into reports of Knight Commander Meredith's harsh treatment of her charges years earlier. But we found so many shocking cases of magical corruption, it was decided her actions were justified. If we'd been there when it happened, if we'd looked harder at the root causes...
You seem to care a great deal about it.
Too much, if you ask the rest of my order. When faced with a problem, the Seekers would close ranks and crush it. We would find an answer, but only once we felt we weren't being coerced. The moment the mages voted for independence, our response was predictable. It was difficult to watch.
I've no more questions.
Caer Oswin. Odd that the trail should lead us here. Ban Loren is a pious, unassuming man. What has he become involved in? Let's see what lies within.
One down!
Promises. I should have known. The Order of Fiery Promise is a cult with strange beliefs about the Seekers. They've hounded us for centuries.
What kind of strange beliefs?
They believe they are Seekers, the only rightful ones. They say we robbed their powers long ago, preventing them from ending the world.
Ending the world?
The only way to truly eradicate evil in their eyes. The world will be reborn a paradise. It's all nonsense.
Why haven't the Seekers dealt with them?
We have, many times. They simply reappear after a time like weeds. Nobody knows how.
Cultists. Why am I not surprised?
This explains why the Seekers might be here, but not the connection to Corypheus.
On your face!
As the Seekers of Truth have proven resistant to the effects of red lyrium, the Elder One has seen fit to place them in your care. Reclaim your destiny, and know that the Elder One expects your devotion as repayment. Signed by Lord Samson, Commander of the Red Templars. Does Corypheus not realize the promises want the world to end? What use are they to him?
So Corypheus sold the Seekers to these cultists?
And they leapt at the chance, of course. But this doesn't explain how he captured the Seekers in the first place, or what's been done with them. We must keep looking.
The letter said Seekers were resistant to red lyrium.
Our abilities grant us many gifts, but a resistance to red lyrium's corruption? That seems strange. Although it would explain why none have numbered among the Red Templars. And thus Seekers would be useless to Corypheus. He would have no leash to hold us.
You sound worried.
I am. The Seekers are my family. Daniel! Daniel! Can you hear me?
Cassandra. It is you. You're alive.
As are you. I'm so glad I found you.
No, they put a demon inside me. It's tearing me up.
What? You can't be possessed. That's impossible.
I'm not possessed. They fed me things. I can feel it growing.
What could they hope to gain from this?
Our powers, revenge, who knows?
The Lord Seeker. You have to find him.
Of course we'll find him. If he lives, we'll...
Lucius betrayed us, Cassandra. He sent us here, one by one. An important mission, he said. Lies. He was here with them all along. He's still working with them.
But we met Lord Seeker Lucius in Val Royeaux. He couldn't have been here.
That wasn't him. It was a demon, masquerading.
What? How could that be?
The Lord Seeker allowed it. He let the demon take command while he
came here.
Cassandra.
Now is not the time for sympathy.
Wait. Don't leave me like this, please.
You should have come with me. You didn't believe in the war any more than I did.
You know me. I wanted that promotion.
Go to the Maker's side, Daniel. You will be welcome. He was my apprentice. I have never known a finer young man. Now we find Lord Seeker Lucius. Lord Seeker Lucius.
Cassandra, with a woman I can only assume is the new Inquisitor.
You must be very proud of your handiwork.
I presume you know we Seekers of Truth were once the original Inquisition. Oh yes. We fought to restore order in a time of madness long ago, as you do now. And we became proud. We sought to remake the world, to make it better. But what did we create? The Chantry, the Circles of Magi. A war that will see no end.
And aiding Corypheus is supposed to help?
Corypheus is a monster with limited ambition.
And your ambition is so much greater.
We Seekers are abominations, Cassandra. We created a decaying world and fought to preserve it even as it crumbled. We had to be stopped. You don't believe me? See for yourself. The secrets of our order passed to me after the former Lord Seeker was slain. The war with the mages had already begun, but it was not too late for me to do the right thing.
He's completely mad, isn't he?
Lord Seeker, what you've done...
I know. What Corypheus did with the Templars does not matter. I have seen the future. I have created a new order to replace the old. The world will end so we can start anew. A pure beginning. Join us, Cassandra. It is the Maker's will.
He was insane. He had to be. The influence of Corypheus, perhaps? Was he trying to disable the Seekers?
All these wasted lives.
He could not have destroyed all of us. I won't accept it. Let us return to Skyhold. I wish to see what's in this Book of Secrets. This tome has passed from Lord Seeker to Lord Seeker, since the time of the Old Inquisition. And now it falls to me.
Are you all right? You look drained.
Do you know what the Rite of Tranquility is? The last resort used on mages in the Circle, leaving them unable to cast, but depriving them of dreams and all emotion. It should only be used on those who cannot control their abilities, but that has not always been the case.
Deprived of all emotion? That sounds...
I always thought it a necessary evil. What finally began the Mage Rebellion was the discovery the Rite of Tranquility could be reversed. The Lord Seeker at the time covered it up, harshly. There were deaths. It was dangerous knowledge. The shock of its discovery, in addition to what happened in Kirkwall. But it appears we've always known how to reverse the rite. From the beginning.
Why keep that knowledge a secret?
We created the Rite of Tranquility. I told you of my vigil, the months I spent emptying myself of all emotion. I was made tranquil, and didn't even know. Then the vigil summoned the spirit of faith to touch my mind. That broke tranquility, and gave me my abilities. The Seekers did not share that secret. Not with me, not with the Chantry, not even with... There's more. Lucius was not wrong about the Order. I thought to rebuild the Seekers once victory was ours. Now I'm not certain it deserves to be rebuilt.
If you did rebuild the Seekers, how would you do it?
I can't be the only one remaining. We will always spread to the winds, and some may still be out there. I would find them one by one. We would all read this book, no more secrets. Then together we would establish a new charter. The Maker's work in truth.
You keep saying that, but what is the Maker's work?
There is no way to know for certain. That is why we must seek it out. Perhaps we lost our way because we stopped looking.
I don't think I've ever seen you so shaken.
I do not think the Seekers have been doing the Maker's work. Not truly. Perhaps we believed it once. The original Inquisition came to be during a terrible time. But now, we harbored secrets and let them fester. We acted to survive, but not to serve. That is not the Maker's work.
You said there was more in the book.
At some point, power becomes its own master. We cast aside ideals in favor of expedience, and tell ourselves it was all necessary for the people. Will that happen to us, Inquisitor? Will we repeat history?
I can't foresee the future, Cassandra.
But we know the past. Those who do not heed history are doomed to repeat it.
That's not for me to decide, Cassandra.
Thank you. I could not have done this on my own.
Mayor Gregory Dedrick of Crestwood is present for betraying his own constituents. He confesses that, 10 years ago, he flooded Old Crestwood to kill refugees and villagers touched by the Blight. The mayor claims it was to spare the rest of Crestwood, but we only have his word.
If the mayor has anything to say in his defense, let him speak.
There's no cure for the Blight. But I couldn't convince anyone to leave a sick child or husband behind.
So you herded the infected into one place and flooded Old Crestwood? Were no innocents caught in the waters?
Nearly everyone in the village had the Blight. I swear it. Have mercy. I couldn't tell the survivors I'd drowned their own families to save them. I couldn't.
You committed murder on Ferelden's soil. Let them deal with your punishment. Send him to Denerim. He can live the rest of his life behind their bars.
In prison? Maker. I should have drowned with them.
Inquisitor?
Let's talk about the Grey Wardens. You must know a lot about them.
Ah, the Wardens. I'm afraid we're less exciting than we seem.
You haven't had contact with other Wardens for a while. Why were you on your own?
It's what I've always done. Recruitment only requires one man. Besides, I've always been a loner. Works best for everyone that way.
The Blight's been over for 10 years. What do Wardens do when the world's not ending?
There is still Darkspawn. Just because we killed so many in Ferelden doesn't mean they're gone. And the world is not so peaceful that there's no use for good men with swords. Sometimes you have to figure out for yourself what the pledge to protect others really means. It's not always about just archdemons and blights.
Where were you during the Blight?
I was in Ferelden, on my own, like always. Quietly killed my fair share of Darkspawn too.
Have you been hearing the calling too?
I know what Corypheus is. He has no sway over me.
How do the Wardens deal with archdemons?
Short answer. Stick it with swords until it stops moving.
Wardens are in all the stories. If it was that easy, anyone could do it.
No, it really is that simple. Just because the archdemon is magic doesn't mean it can't be killed with swords. It just has to be a Grey Warden sword. Look, it's not the killing blow that's the problem. It's getting the dragon to the point where it's vulnerable, where it actually can be killed. There's no short answer for that, I'm afraid.
Let's continue this at another time.
As you wish. I'll be here if you need me.
So I take it you're Dalish? Is that the correct word here?
Yes, that's right.
We don't have Dalish clans coming northward, for obvious reasons. So I've never met one of your people before, although I've heard about them. Little. I hope this won't be an issue between us. I am here to help you deal with the Venatori, after all.
And I appreciate your help, Dorian.
Excellent. Mutual appreciation is a grand way to begin.
You said Alexius was a mentor of yours.
He was my patron, sponsoring me to the higher levels of the Circle of Magi. In return, my successes were his. I had a lot of successes, naturally. Alexius was most pleased. He and I used to talk over brandy about the corruption, how we could one day make real change in the Imperium. And then he gave up. He stopped trying.
Why did he give up?
On a journey to Hossberg, a Darkspawn raid killed his wife and sickened his son. I remember hearing the news. He hadn't been there, you see. Alexius was convinced he could have protected them. And the guilt tore him up. I helped him with his research for a while, and then we drifted apart.
That must have been difficult.
Back then, I was furious. I told him to snap out of it, move on. I thought I had all the answers. Later, I regretted my hasty words. But we didn't speak again until he approached me for the Venatori. Too much pride, I suppose. Plus, I was busy drinking. One must have priorities.
I don't think that's it. You felt guilty because you couldn't help him.
Clever you. I had a choice, you see. Wallow in self-pity or get away while I could. At any rate, he's fallen so low, I doubt he'll ever get up. Sad, really.
I should go.
You know where I'll be.
I hear Vashel was good pay for you, Inquisitor. Time to go see if my friends came through too. Got a location for a stash. Hopefully something nice for my trouble. Well, your trouble. Just let me know when you're ready to head out. Be sure to bring your empty pockets.
Who's putting up the reward for this?
Don't know. Sometimes it's pass the hat. Sometimes it's I lifted this from Master's vault. Doesn't matter, does it? Job done. Time to get what we're owed.
I'm ready if you are.
Always, yeah. My favorite part, this. Let's go see what friends can get us. Wait, this is weird.
What?
I was expecting a village or something. The people that leave me stuff don't trek out to places like this. Give me a city and I'll give you a tour, but surprise, surprise, I don't know stupid woods or ruins. What's that?
Don't hurt me. Harmond made me do it.
Right, things have gone sour, as they do.
No, it has to go right or he'll kill me for the marching. It wasn't my fault.
You were the one with the rumor out of Vashel. My friend.
You're her. You're the one he's waiting for. It's her. She's here. Red Jenny.
Nuts!
on. I was not aware the Inquisitor was personally involved. This is a tragic misunderstanding. Let's all sheath our swords, you walk out, and we'll conduct this like business.
Don't believe this pissbag. He started it.
There. That wasn't so hard, was it? We identified the confusion, and we worked past it. I'm Lord Pelharmond. I do hope, Inquisitor, that you continue to respond to reason. After all, your choice of company is hardly virtuous.
Freaking user, you are. Another noble prick who punches down.
We're the same, you and I. Well, that is overstating it. You are nothing like me. But we both need people.
Well, say your piece.
Of course. No more rash mistakes. Honestly, previous to this very moment, I thought you'd also been tricked by these red jennies. Despite your foreign nature, as Inquisitor, you are a social peer. I attacked them on behalf of us both.
Arse biscuit.
Quiet. Inquisitor, Herald, I don't want to be your enemy. I'm barely invested in being hers. If you are willing to recognize an opportunity, we could be exceptional partners.
You were up to something in Vishel, Harmond. What was it?
If you mean bettering my wealth and position, I'm always seeking that.
By getting people hurt?
Lady Shell Morveau and I were jockeying for the land south of Vishel. To claim land, you must populate it. My people encouraged hers to leave. Her people answered in kind, etc. Really, it was all terribly standard displacement until your troops seemed to change the balance. Well played.
Stop talking to him. Really, just stop it.
The servants you killed, they did nothing except talk about what was going on.
You killed my contacts. My friends.
That is entirely true.
Well, that should be that then.
You're the one who empowered them, made their complaints a threat. Perhaps you should have warned them about talking to you.
Tell the snot splash no already. Not saying again.
Now what was the point of that?
Mother puss bucket, friggin' bastard, shitebag, pissface. Eat it, you lop-eared son of an arsenal, rotten piece of...
Sarah!
What?
I think you're done. At this point, you're making wine.
Ugh, that makes it worse. Friends, Inquisitor. Better than his lot any day. Hey, you. Know what? Thanks. Felt good to stomp the smile off that pisshead's face. It doesn't go bad like that often, yeah? But when it does, they deserve it.
Risky, but keep it within the Inquisition and I'll support you.
Even though this puckered around us?
Even so.
Well, good then. Right, what do you mean? Because I am really not used to that acceptance thing you're doing right there.
We'll have some differences, but I want to be one of your friends.
You're pretty big to be one of my contacts. Important, I mean, not fat. But all right, Inquisitor. You're on my good side. We'll see if it lasts.
Sarah was never an agreeable girl. Her tongue tells tales of rebellion, but she was so fast and quick with her bow. No one quite knew where she came from. Sarah was never quite the quietest girl. Her attacks are loud and they're joyful, but she knew the ways of nobler men, and she knew how to enrage them. She would always like to say, why change the past when you could own this day? Today she will fight to keep her way. She's a rogue and a thief and she'll tempt your fate. She would always like to say, why change the past when you can own this day? Today she will fight to keep her way. A rogue and a thief and she'll tempt your fate. Sarah was never quite the wealthiest girl. Some say she lives in a tavern, but she was so sharp and quick with a bow. Arrows strike like a dragon. but she knew